Hello everybody and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan and right now we're looking at my 32-gallon long, I want to say bookshelf aquarium, but I mean, try putting this on your bookshelf. Good luck with that. But be that as it may, it wasn't but 2 weeks ago we were looking at this tank. It was so heavily planted, you couldn't even see the substrate. Everything was just going nuts. It was an organized but chaotic jungle, and I was reluctant to go in there and pull anything or do any trimming. But then the other day I went in to maybe pull one or two leaves, rip out a few valves, clip a stick that was full of blackbeard. One thing led to another, and 2.5 hours later I've got basically a 2.0 on this 32-gallon long aquarium. I ended up pulling the old piece of driftwood, you see it back there, instead of just clipping and trimming it. As I messed with it, I noticed it was kind of soft and squishy, so it was rotting, and that can happen with these thinner pieces. And so I pulled the damn thing. I had a beautiful piece of, I don't think it's manzanilla wood, it's some kind of budwood, and it has that wonderful crimson color. I'm sure that won't last, but right now it really picks up the red motif in this aquarium with the white cloud mountains and all those reds and then the substrate, etc. So I pulled that out, and once you're doing that, you pretty much, it's game over, or I should say game on. And I went to town. I pulled 50 valves out, 50 adult valves, which I've repurposed in the aquarium I just showed you that I'm working on in my first commercial application. So I used a bunch of that, and then I traded the rest to a local fish shop for a great deal on this beautiful Anubias, which is all new in this tank. I had new Anubias before, but it got rot. I'm hoping that does not happen again. This is Anubias congenesis. It's a mother plant. I broke it into 3 pieces, and then over here is Anubias nana. All of these are excellent specimens of either of those 2 species of Anubias, and I hope they stay that way. I added a piece of interesting bogwood in the back here. I'm always playing around with stuff that goes in and out of the water. And I put some water Sprite within the various tangle of stick there. And I think that's kind of cool. I could pull it out in 5 seconds and no one would miss it or be the wiser. But for now, I thought it was a fun addition. I let this pogo stem and octopus have much more real estate. I love this plant, new best friend, pogo stem and octopus. It's leaning because that's where the outflow is on the canister. This is that colony of leopard veil or red vallisneria. And obviously I don't want to get rid of it. I love that plant, and it occupies the back of the tank as it always has, but not nearly as much, and it's no longer encroaching all through the rock work and even up into the edges of the aquarium, which it was doing before, and I'm sure it will do it again. You know, 6-8 months in, like this tank was, it's kind of the highest class problem you can have. Your plants just want more and more and more, and they take it, right? They'll do what they can to get what they want, and you have to keep pulling and pulling. And so what I did was restrike the whole aquascapes. Here's some cryptocorin. I think this is beautiful, very healthy. I forget which, I think it's lutea. And then look at how this water Sprite, I've been clipping it to keep a tight, compact growth, and it's gorgeous, right? Most people just let it float around and it gets a little gnarly, like hanging roots that aren't very pretty, not as pretty as these from Frog Bit. Although here's a nice piece of water Sprite from my sump, and you can see what I'm talking about. It's not that it's bad, it's good, it's great for your tank. I just don't think you compare that to that, right? This looks a lot more sweet than this. Is kind of like but in any event, look at it down here. Isn't that incredible? Super cool. And I didn't think water Sprite could do that. And then some more crypts here. that I moved around. Hopefully they won't melt, but they were in this tank every which way. And then this is what I like to do. I like to take Japanese clover, hydrocalte, I think is the first part of its Latin name, and sort of intertwine it within you can wrap it around sticks, you can do all kinds of things, and it really has a fabulous natural look to it. There's one remaining piece of Hygrophila pinnifatum. It was my favorite plant. It overran this tank like the vales, and so I've clipped it down just to a few specimens here, and you know, that's gonna fill out quick. Here are some Hipporoides, just the tips of this lovely plant, and I still wanted to keep it because it was doing well in this tank. It'll reach 3/4 of the way at the top and be very red and yellow, which keeps in keeping with the motif of this tank. So the livestock, I can see it for one thing. Immediately I saw the white clouds schooling backwards and forwards. They never had that much real estate. I rediscovered the 4 black swordtails. These are all juveniles. You can just see the tail forming on that one there. I got these 4 at a swap. I don't have any other live bearers except for those, and I bought them because the black and the red was part of the motif I was going for. And you can see I've stuck with that, with the piece of wood, the substrate, and even the fish. I added some Hillstream loaches because I can't find my Amanos. I don't know, you know, maybe the Siamese algae eaters that are in here ate them. I don't find any of their dried carcasses around the tank, but I don't see them in here either. And I don't see my school of gold lasers. I've seen 1 or 2, and they're beautiful. They're all big adults now, and they glow, and I'm hoping they'll come out, but I think some disappeared. There's phantom disappearances. Obviously the fish dies, and there were so many plants, they sort of absorbed it. Oh, boom, I almost forgot. Another thing I said I would never do, I added a beta. It was an impulse buy. My Petco, I was in there to get some generic food, and they just got a shipment, so they were, I was captivated by this one. The bronze colors reminded me of my tank, so I picked him up about 2 weeks ago, and I never saw him when I put him in here because there were so many plants, but now I do, and he seems to be pretty happy, and nobody's bugging him, and he's not bugging anybody else. And there's other things in here. There's Siamese algae eaters, some Autosynclus and Hillstream loaches now, which are doing fine. I was worried I wouldn't have cold enough water for them, but given white clouds like cooler water, betas don't, but yeah, I'm running 77, and it's 76.7 degrees. Tad cool for beta fish, although the secret history living in your aquarium said that if you keep your temperatures a little bit down, beta fish will be less aggressive. And I thought that was really ingenious advice. Obviously you always risk getting ick. Fortunately, ick has not been one of the problems I've had to contend with in this tank or any other. I've had problems, but not that one, so knock on wood. I need another fish. I mean, there's a lot in here, but I need another school of fish, and I was thinking of dwarf neon rainbow fish maybe, or just adding some more live bearers, a few more fun colored swordtails in the orange, red, yellow kind of vernacular that they can be found in. I'd love your suggestions, and if you compare and contrast this tank to its previous, I'm not sure it holds up to the previous tank when it was in its prime, but I think it's a pretty sweet looking aquascape. You know, it's classic in every way. I've got some space that I rarely allow in my tanks. That's just plain, that's just a runway, baby. And normally I just get nuts and put plants every which way, but I forced myself not to. I'm really keen on the way this water sprite is growing for me, and I just clip the ends of it, and it's compact, it's rooted in the ground. There's highlight here. I don't know what the secret is, but I've never seen water sprite grow in this way, and I'm very delighted to report that to you. It can be done. It doesn't just have to be a top water nitrate remover. So the tank is a bit of a hodgepodge fish-wise, but it's exciting to have a new aquarium, so to speak, or a 2.0 of the 32G long. Okay, everybody, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.